Donald Trump and Joe Biden's speech in Pennsylvania was like night and day. Or you could say like good and evil.
My fellow Americans, please, if you have a seat, take it.
Nigga, with that cough in your voice, if you got some extra Trump juice, take it.
I speak to you tonight from sacred ground in America.
You need to speak to everybody with a mask on so this event won't turn into a super spreader.
Independence Hall in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This is where America made its Declaration of Independence to the world more than 2 centuries ago with an idea.
I got an idea. Your ass needs to take a 5th booster shot. Next! Joe Biden say,
that in America, we're all created equal.
Unless you black, brown, or poor, then your ass is created unequally, according to CRT. Next! If you wanted somebody to represent the country, who would you get to represent the country with their speeches? Donald Trump's or Joe Biden? The light or the dark?
But as I stand here tonight, equality and democracy are under assault. We do ourselves no favor to pretend otherwise.
How'd you like the red lighting behind him like the devil?
Too much of what's happening in our country today is not normal.
Our country's going to hell.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
Our country is going to hell.
Now, I want to be very clear up front. Not every Republican, not even the majority of Republicans are MAGA Republicans.
Not true. 90% of Republicans are MAGA Republicans. So you are talking about millions of God-fearing Americans.
This election is a referendum on the corruption and extremism of Joe Biden and the radical Democrat Party.
Donald Trump can talk about the Democratic Party without talking about the liberal voters, calling them all kind of unpatriotic names that's disrespectful, unlike Joe Biden.
Not every Republican embraces their extreme ideology.
And the ones that don't are considered rhinos.
I know, because I've been able to work with these mainstream Republicans.
Who, Mitch McConnell and Mitt Romney? That's how you was able to get all them so-called bipartisan bills passed. We know they not MAGA Republicans.
But there's no question that the Republican Party today is dominated, driven, and intimidated by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans.
And the Democratic Party are driven by hate groups that act out in violence every time a decision don't go their damn way.
Radical left rampaging across the country over Roe versus Wade, while Democrats attack the Supreme Court's legitimacy.
And Joe Biden don't mention that extremism because that extremism comes from the left. And you know the left is well protected by the Democrats. Go ahead and do anything you want. We'll even bail you out.
If you want to stop this destruction of America, you must vote Republican. You got to get out and vote.
Because you see what happened when you vote Democrat. The country ain't been the same since. Financially, racially, mentally, spiritually, or even health-wise. Next! Joe Biden don't mention both sides of the extremism.
In Los Angeles, a man is facing possible attempted murder charges after attacking a cop with a makeshift flamethrower.
I think that's worse than bear spray.
And that is a threat to this country.
And MAGA's supposed to be the extremists. And it's the left that's doing the extremism.
But they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop. And this is a movement, I'm telling you.
And they haven't stopped. From the summer of love all the way up to Roe v. Wade.
The FBI is investigating after pro-abortion extremists torched a pro-life Colorado pregnancy center, leaving behind graffiti that says, "If abortions aren't safe, neither are you."
And no arrest was made, investigations done, or any group speaking out against it.
These are hard things. But I'm an American president, not a president of red America, blue America, but of all America.
Including the Central American countries.
And I believe it's my duty to level with you, to tell the truth, no matter how difficult, no matter how painful.
As you know, this week, Joe Biden came to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, to give the most vicious, hateful, and divisive speech ever delivered by an American president.
And here, in my view, is what is true. MAGA Republicans do not respect the Constitution.
Vilifying 75 million citizens plus another probably 75 to 150.
Because millions of people support Donald Trump that can't vote, but they still love Donald Trump, support MAGA, and support Let's Go Brandon.
They do not believe in the rule of law. They do not recognize the will of the people.
If we want to be accurate about it, as threats to democracy and as enemies of the state. You're all enemies of the state.
You the enemy of the state, like the Bloods are the enemy of my grandma, and my baby mama is the enemy of my pockets.
They refuse to accept the results of a free election, and they're working right now, as I speak, in state after state, to give power to decide elections in America to partisans and cronies.
Joe Biden is proving that he hates half of America, and I'm not just talking about black people.
He's an enemy of the state. You want to know the truth?
Empowering election deniers to undermine democracy itself.
The enemy of the state is him and the group that control him, which is circling around him. Do this, do that, Joe. You're going to do this, Joe, right?
Joe Biden even got Easter bunnies giving him directions and orders. Ain't that a bitch?
MAGA forces are determined to take this country backwards to an America where there is no right to choose, no right to privacy, no right to contraception, no right to marry who you love.
And as fucked up as liberal minds is, that includes animals and kids.
I think Philadelphia was a great choice to make this speech of hatred and anger. His speech was hatred and anger.
They promote authoritarian leaders and they fan the flames of political violence.
Well, if MAGA fueled the flames of the fire, it's the liberals got the damn matches in the damn gasoline.
The arrest of a former Minneapolis police officer for the murder of George Floyd, failing to stop another night of rage in that city. The governor fully mobilizing the National Guard for the first time in U.S. history. The protests continuing this evening. These pictures coming in right now from Los Angeles. Police pushing back crowds using batons and firing rubber bullets.
That are a threat to our personal rights.
There's no bigger threat to our lives, property, and personal rights than liberals. The Democrats trying to take the first 5 amendments out the damn Constitution. Next! They trying to take them out and the judges out. And they don't even protect the judges. Judges get no protection.
Arrest tonight the suspect accused of planning to kill Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh, a man arrested outside the justice's home with a pistol, zip ties, and burglary tools. What he said he was angry about and what he told police he was setting out to do. Tonight he's now charged with attempted murder.
And he wasn't an ultra MAGA terrorist. The liberals is preaching nobody is safe if they can't get their way.
To the pursuit of justice, to the rule of law, to the very soul of this country.
What about all the black souls your family tree helped create with your slave master, racist, slave-owning background? And speaking of history, who is protecting our senior citizens?
Now to an Eyewitness News exclusive. They say they are living in fear, terrorized by a group of kids that comes to their building in the Bronx night after night.
And the defunded police can't do nothing for them.
And these senior citizens say it's gotten so bad, they're afraid to come out after dark.
In some liberal cities, some residents are trapped in the house like they some type of Afghan political prisoner.
We hear, you've heard it, more and more talk about violence as an acceptable political tool.
Look in my eyes. I have not slept.
67-year-old Miriam Cintron and her neighbors live in a state of fear. They claim large gangs of young teens have been terrorizing their apartment building in the Bronx all summer, and it's getting worse.
So I want to say this plain and simple. There is no place for political violence in America, period. None, ever.
They came at us. They beat us. They broke that stick from that tree there to beat us with the wood. We don't have nobody.
I don't know if you would call this political violence, but it's done in liberal cities under liberal laws with no liberal prosecution.
Miriam says they broke the pole from the tree well and turned it into a weapon Saturday night as she fell victim to their violence.
As more and more police quit, retire, or just refuse to do their damn job.
And can you believe it? FBI agents just doing their job as directed, facing threats to their own lives from their own fellow citizens.
What about the citizens who facing threats to their own lives because their own police can't protect them? Next! And under Joe Biden, violence have increased drastically in liberal cities.
14 people were shot last weekend in Philadelphia, 14.
They were kicking me in my side, they were kicking me on this side, they was punching me in my back, trying to get my face, but I covered.
Why nobody covering this?
And the fake news will go out and check. Oh, that's a lot of fake news. Whoa. That's a lot of fake news.
That don't cover real stories.
63-year-old Nydia Carrero says a group of young girls the same night slammed her to the sidewalk, dragged her and pummeled her after she refused them entry into her building.
4 people were killed last weekend. At one point last month, 7 people were shot in the span of just 71 minutes. Philadelphia.
Wait a minute. That was the weekend my grandmother flew to Philadelphia to catch a Eagles preseason game.
This is 1294 and 1295 East 169th Street in the Morrisania section of the Bronx. Most of the tenants here are elderly. They tell me they are being swarmed, beaten, and robbed by ruthless teens who have turned their apartment building into an oasis of lawlessness and who apparently count on their youth to spare them.
This year in Philadelphia has already seen more than 1,400 people shot, including numerous beautiful little children.
I don't think nobody is spared or safe in liberal cities.
As the adolescents escalate the violence night after night, residents are left bruised and traumatized.
Last year, the city set an all-time murder record with 560 homicides.
It's a shame. And they are telling us they're going to come back and burn the building down? It's ridiculous.
Armed robberies in Philadelphia are up 62%.
Give me the name of the liberal city where crime is not up, and I will give you the name of a city that don't fucking exist. Next!
On top of that, there are public figures today, yesterday, and the day before predicting and all but calling for mass violence and rioting in the streets.
Protests turned destructive in downtown Seattle tonight. Here's what we know as of 10 o'clock. Protests started at about noon today in Seattle, but turned destructive right around 4 p.m. when someone lit a Seattle police cruiser on fire.
I will bet my last dollar or my last donut that none of them was MAGA or white supremacists.
This is inflammatory. It's dangerous.
A patrol car on fire. And in Philadelphia, police vehicles torched as the crowd swelled. There were similar scenes in several American cities Friday night.
But Joe Biden say MAGA is the problem.
It's against the rule of law.
Biden thinks making America great again is bad for our country. Do you believe it? That was in his speech.
And we, the people, must say, this is not who we are.
MAGA. MAGA, he says we've got to stop MAGA.
You can't be pro-insurrectionist and pro-American. They're incompatible.
That's when I defined it, because I don't think he knows what it meant. It means make America great again. We have to stop it. Stop MAGA. Stop make America great again.
We can't allow violence to be normalized in this country. It's wrong.
An angry group outside the CNN Center in Atlanta, the tense moments you saw right there, playing out on live television.
We each have to reject political violence with all the moral clarity and conviction this nation can muster.
Protesters leaving an auto parts store in flames. Others seen looting a local Target.
Tonight was a different night of protesting.
He thinks making America great again is a threat to our country. No, making America great again is great for our country.
If it wasn't for MAGA, I wouldn't have time to research these damn videos. And it's conservatives like Tom that give me the donation that allow me the time to research these pedophiles, baby killers, and these God deniers. Because Tom don't like child molesters, baby killers are God deniers. Next!
They look at the mob that stormed the United States Capitol on January 6th, brutally attacking law enforcement.
The shit that happened to the police at the Capitol building don't compare to nothing that happened in the summer of love to the damn police.
All of it after demonstrators approached one of the city's police precincts.
Not as insurrectionists who placed a dagger at the throat of our democracy, but they look at them as patriots.
We're about to lose the front of the precinct if we don't move this crowd out of the front.
That kind of sounds like an insurrection.
Respected conservatives, like Federal Circuit Court Judge Michael Luttig, has called Trump and the extreme MAGA Republicans, quote, a clear and present danger to our democracy.
But some passions flaring into violence, too. On Friday night in Rhode Island, a state Democratic candidate punched in the face by her Republican opponent, who has since dropped his bid.
They're not going to stop. And everyone beware.
There are far more Americans from every background and belief who reject the extreme MAGA ideology than those that accept it.
In conservative-led Iowa, a truck plowing through a crowd of abortion rights activists.
It kind of looked like the dumb son of a bitches attacked the truck, if you ask me.
Because they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day.
MAGA Republicans have made their choice. They embrace anger. They thrive on chaos.
So what in the fuck liberals embrace or thrive on?
And in Arizona, where abortion is banned after 15 weeks, protesters gathered at the state Senate, scattered by tear gas that police say they fired after people began damaging the building.
They live not in the light of truth, but in the shadow of lies.
And total chaos in Phoenix, where Arizona lawmakers say they were held hostage by an angry crowd outside the state capitol.
And that should be, everyone should take note of that on both levels.
We're all called by duty and conscience to confront extremists who put their own pursuit of power above all else.
And back here in D.C., double fencing and high security outside the court. Congress temporarily closed its doors to visitors Friday, too, in anticipation of massive continued protests.
That they're not going to let up, and they should not.
And they haven't. The liberals been destroying America for the last damn 6 years, and they want to blame it on MAGA and Trump.
And raiding and breaking into the homes of their political opponents. I wonder who that could be.
Why don't you take a wild guess? You most likely will be right.
Law-abiding citizens issuing lawless mandates and unconstitutional orders, imprisoning political protesters. That's what they're doing. Rigging elections, weaponizing the Justice Department and the FBI like never, ever before.
They sent the SWAT to Marjorie Taylor Greene house, too, to get her swatted because they know Marjorie Taylor Greene was going to answer the door with that damn pistol. Lucky she didn't that day.
Republicans in the MAGA movement are not the ones trying to undermine our democracy. We are the ones trying to save our democracy. Very simple.
Democrats, independents, mainstream Republicans, we must be stronger, more determined, and more committed to saving American democracy.
The danger to democracy comes from the radical left, not from the right.
And MAGA Republicans are to destroying American democracy.
And what the hell is you doing with the evil Hitler demonic setting in the background? That looked like some demonic Hitler dictator shit. Next! The Democrats and the liberals claim Donald Trump was acting like a dictator, but since Joe Biden been in office, you done seen how a dictator acts.
The Biden administration invaded the home of their chief political opponent.
No matter what the white supremacists and the extremists say, I made a bet on you, the American people, and that bet is paying off.
Who is absolutely destroying him and everyone else in the polls, I hate to say it.
The MAGA Republicans believe that for them to succeed, everyone else has to fail.
The MAGA movement is the greatest in the history of our country.
And the MAGA movement is about making all of America great, even the blacks and the racists. They part of America too. Next!
When we witnessed one of the most shocking abuses of power by any administration in American history, the shameful raid and break-in of my home, Mar-a-Lago, was a travesty of justice.
The willingness to see each other not as enemies, but as fellow Americans.
The liberal movement can destroy the country.
That made a mockery of America's laws, traditions, and principles before the entire world was watching, and they're shocked.
And China, Afghanistan, and Russia is amused. They laughing at us. China, Russia, and Afghanistan probably thinking, damn, we don't even do this type of shit.
On a phony pretext, getting permission from a highly political magistrate
who got anti-Donald Trump tweets,
who they handpicked late in the evening, just days before the break-in,
and already took his damn self off of a Donald Trump case concerning Hillary Clinton,
and trampled upon my rights and civil liberties as if our country that we love so much were a third world nation.
Where in a third world country, charging your political opponents with fake crimes is the normal. As Vladimir Putin opponents, if they ass are still alive.
They rifled through the First Lady's closet, drawers, and everything else.
I wonder how many of her panties did they steal.
And even did a deep and ugly search of the room of my 16-year-old son.
Them was liberals. I wonder how many boxers of his did they sniff.
Leaving everything they touched in far different condition than it was when they started.
One notable thing is just the treatment, or I suppose you could say mistreatment, in that these highly sensitive documents were thrown into boxes, containers, parts of the president's office with other things, magazines, books, clothing, gift items.
Can you believe it? The FBI and the Justice Department have become vicious monsters.
At work as Democrat henchmen, going after political opponents, political parents, and the political party.
Controlled by radical left scoundrels, lawyers, and the media who tell them what to do, you people right there, and when to do it.
Hey, Demon X212, I wish I could tell my baby mama what to do and when to do it. Because I would tell her to stop breathing and do it now.
They're trying to silence me, and more importantly, they are trying to silence you, but we will not be silenced.
Are bait us into a new civil war that the liberals trying to get conservatives into?
Yeah, I mean, you see that, and it's not just one of these boxes and containers described here, which is a list of 33 or so of them. 33 boxes and containers. I mean, you see in one of them, it's magazines, press articles.
The left lie and want us to believe it, no matter how outlandish the story may sound.
A prosecutor would charge crooked Hillary Clinton after she set up a secret illegal server to hide her family's pay-for-play schemes, crammed it full of classified information, allowed it to be plundered by foreign hackers. You know that happened.
And if we don't believe it, we label a racist, unpatriotic American, or just plain evil.
Then 11 confidential documents, classified documents, 21 with secret classification markings, and then articles of clothing and gifts, a book, and then other non-classified government records.
And then deleted, acid washed, 30,000 emails. Think of that. 30,000 emails. And what else did she do?
And James Comey knew it happened too. But your information is the ones that is a national security threat.
So you just kind of get a sense that this is very haphazard. It's not, these classified top secret documents are not being maintained in the secure manner in which they're required to be done.
Boom, with a hammer, smashed her phone systems to smithereens after receiving the highest level of subpoena from the U.S. Congress.
A subpoena is something you didn't have a privilege of getting.
That one of the things that they're looking at is not only the the documents themselves, but the nature and manner in which they were stored.
Talk about documents not being properly stored, yet they go in and take documents, dump them on the floor, stage a photo shoot, and pretend that I had done it, like I had put them all over the floor.
And they said that will inform the government's investigation and inform, it also says, witness interviews and grand jury practice. So certainly still a very active investigation.
And Hunter Biden case is non-active. As long as Hunter Biden case been going on, it should have been a trial and a conviction.
Highlights the point that it's not just the retention of these documents, which belong to the government, not to the person, but also how they were stored.
Then they put out for public consumption a picture which is seen all over the world. This is what they do. It's called disinformation. These are very dishonest, sick people.
So some more details we just added up on the screen. We had said early on more than 100 classified documents found in the search, and now we know how that broke down. 31 confidential, at the lowest level of classification, 54 secret, 18 marked top secret.
How many top secret emails did Hillary Clinton have? Beth Roberts, can you guess? Don't even try, Beth Roberts. That was a trick question because she erased all of them, and the ones she didn't erase, she destroyed or bleached or both.
Which we've described on the broadcast before. Top secret, it earns that rating when the revelation of that intelligence could cause grave damage to U.S. national security.
Well, what kind of national security threat was Hunter Biden's laptop with all him and his father information on there with these different countries?
This laptop is a disaster for them. How the hell did he ever let go of this sucker? You know?
Well, when you high on crack, crystal meth, and Parmesan cheese, you kind of make bad decisions. Like
allies of President Trump and supporters in the media promoted incriminating evidence allegedly found on a laptop belonging to Biden.
Allege my ass is his.
You've seen the pictures, folks.
It's funny how the government and the FBI go after paperwork, but they won't go after laptops or emails.
It was delivered to the FBI by the owner of a Delaware computer store.
Even if he could remember, he wouldn't have no recollection.
You make just one reference to it in the book.
Yeah.
Is that laptop yours?
Hey, Captain Kirk. He would have been better off asking Hunter Biden, was that his crack pipe in his mouth on that laptop picture? Or was that him smoking crack in that rehab?
You don't need the laptop. You got a book.
The Parmesan cheese must have been damn good if it make him forget his whereabouts. If it make him lose his memory on his whereabouts.
You get the book, it's all in the book. And I don't know. I truly...
You don't know?
The serious answer is that I truly do not know the answer to that.
Well, let's start off with what do you know?
But whether or not somebody has my laptop, whether or not I was hacked, whether or not there exists a laptop at all, I truly don't know.
Are you missing a laptop?
Not that I know of, but you read the book and you'll realize that I wasn't keeping tabs on possessions very well for about a 4-year period of time.
Because I was having sex with prostitutes high on Parmesan cheese. Next! Now, of course, the social media companies couldn't have Hunter Biden business all out here in these social media streets. Now, could they?
Tonight, the Trump campaign is accusing Twitter and Facebook of censorship after the social media companies blocked the spread of an unverified story about former Vice President Joe Biden's son and a laptop allegedly full of his old emails.
So you guys censored that as well?
So we took a different path than Twitter.
Last week, he's a weirdo, Mark Zuckerberg came to the White House, kissed my ass.
The FBI, I think, basically came to us, some folks on our team, and was like, hey, just so you know, like, you should be on high alert. We thought that there was a lot of Russian propaganda in the 2016 election. We have it on notice that basically there's about to be some kind of dump that's similar to that, so just be vigilant.
Kiss my ass. Sure, I'd love to have dinner. Sure, I'd love to have dinner. I'd love to bring my lovely wife. All right, Mark, come on in. Sir, you're #1 on Facebook. I'd like to congratulate you. Oh, thank you very much.
It's a story raising concerns about whether it's real or just designed to sow confusion in the final weeks of the election.
Mark, I appreciate it. Weirdo Mark Zuckerberg confessed that in 2020, the FBI went to Facebook and the media and gave them the false narrative that the Hunter Biden laptop from hell was Russian disinformation.
So our protocol is different from Twitter's. What Twitter did is they said you can't share this at all.
Even though they knew that was not true. So they went and they said it was Russian disinformation.
We didn't do that. What we do is we have, if something is reported to us as potentially misinformation, important misinformation, the distribution on Facebook was decreased, but people were still allowed to share it.
By the way, the guy that came in with that stuff just got fired. He perk-walked. He was perk-walked out of the FBI on Friday.
So you could still share it. You could still consume it.
The FBI made it clear that they did not want the truth about the criminality and influence peddling of the Biden family coming out before the election, because that would hurt the chances of Joe Biden, who virtually never left his basement.
He is violating every basic norm of a president. You should be asking him the question, why is he on the phone with a foreign leader, trying to intimidate a foreign leader, if that's what happened? That appears what happened.
If my ass, you knew it was a lie because your ass helped architect it. Next!
So Adam Schiff knows it's a fake story. He made it up with other people. They know it's a fake. And I see Adam Schiff go solemnly to the microphones in the Capitol building.
Just like your ass helped architect the lie about Donald Trump Jr.
And stand there so sad and say, Donald Trump Jr. will be going to prison because of what he did with Russia.
And said some bullshit that he knew was a lie. Vanessa, I don't know who lied more, Joe Biden or Adam Schiff.
Here's what I know. I know Trump deserves to be investigated.
So do you agree that the allegation of secret collusion between President Trump and Russia was a hoax?
Now think of it. He knows the story's a scam. He knows the story's a fake. And he wants my son, who's a good kid, he wants my son to go to prison over something that they made up, that they know is a phony story and has now been, as they say, fully debunked.
And the FBI don't go after Hunter Biden, and this story been fully validated.
You should be looking at Trump. Trump's doing this because he knows I'll beat him like a drum. And he's using the abuse of power and every element of the presidency to try to do something to smear me.
Okay. Do you agree that the Hunter Biden laptop was not Russia disinformation?
Everybody looked at this, and everybody's looked at it and said there's nothing there.
And that's the same people that looked at the Russian collusion hoax and said everything is here, all in black and white. James Touche, you remember on MSNBC with that bitch Rachel Maddow had a ticking time bomb on when Donald Trump was going to go to jail? Where they should have a ticking time bomb on when that bitch going to be off of air. Next!
In other words, it was a totally, and he's standing before microphones with many of those people standing there, and they can't get enough, saying that my son is going to prison.
Joe Biden's son is getting guarded by Secret Service in Malibu. Larry McCray, I got a question. How in the hell is the Trump's getting investigated, but the Biden's not? Never mind. Next! That was a trick question. We know the answer.
Now you're asking about an ongoing investigation that I expect our folks to pursue aggressively, and I can't comment on that.
Okay, and you possess the laptop, right?
Let me ask some follow-up. Please respond, and then we're going to have follow-up
If this stuff is true about Russia, Ukraine, China, other countries, Iraq, if this is true, then he's a corrupt politician.
Again, I can't discuss that. An ongoing investigation.
So don't give me the stuff about how you're this innocent baby. Joe, they're calling you a corrupt politician. Nobody.
President Trump, I want to stay on the issue of race. We're talking about the issue.
Laptop from hell.
Hunter Biden is a saint, but Donald Trump Jr. is a criminal. Ain't that a bitch?
But now, an NBC News analysis of the computer's hard drive has revealed something that does merit scrutiny.
And I then call my son. I say, Don, are you okay? What's going on?
And Joe Biden called his son and say, "Are you all right, son? The investigation is going good."
It's 8:15 on Wednesday night. If you get a chance, give me a call. Nothing urgent. Just want to talk to you. I thought the article, at least the thing online, it's going to be printed tomorrow in the Times, was good. I think it's clear. And anyway, if you get a chance, give me a call. I love you.
Sharon, is one thing my kids can't do, and that's call me. Because I got their ass blocked.
The analysis found millions of dollars flowing to Hunter Biden and his company.
And best believe 10% is going to the big guy. Next! And there's nothing to see here.
What's going on? Think of this if you're a parent. Think of it.
The media talk about how Donald Trump went after Hunter Biden, but the media don't say nothing on how the Democrats went after Donald Trump Jr.
I have to respond to that.
Please,
because look,
very quickly.
there are 50 former national intelligence folks who said that what he's accusing me of is a Russian plant.
My son's going to prison on something that they made, which is a total hoax. These are bad people.
They have said that this has all the five former heads of the CIA, both parties, say what he's saying is a bunch of garbage.
A big chunk of it came from Chinese partners, including a businessman now accused of fraud.
Nobody believes it except his and his good friend Rudy Giuliani.
You mean the laptop is now another Russia hoax?
The feds are currently investigating Hunter Biden's taxes.
And that's exactly what.
Is this where you're going? This is where he's going. The laptop is Russia,
Gentlemen,
Russia.
I want to stay on the issue of race.
You
okay?
have to be kidding. Here we
Mr.
go
President?
again with Russia.
And here we go again with the Democrats going after their political opponents, just like they've been doing for the last 6 years.
But you know what? Our country, it would have been so inappropriate to say keep America great, because who the hell wants to keep our country the way it is right now? I don't.
Shout out to Black Barbie. Thank you for the donation. Also, shout out to my boy Slaphead. What's up with your Slaphead in the chat already? Shout out to the 144 podcast for the donation. Deborah Cox, thank you for the donation. Also, Salty Refried Bean, what's up with you? Andy Dillon, what's up with you? Thanks for the donation. Also, last but not least, P. Mosley.